Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash. I want to send double honor to my elders and apostles at Great Millstone who taught me this truth and who rule well. Peace, love, and safety is to the hopeful elect Akim out there doing this work. And much love as well to the scattered elect and to the few sincere women that subscribe to the true doctrine. This is the brother you call the mouth with the Great Millstone Camp, the branch out here in Omaha, Nebraska. And I'm coming back with another lesson, Lord willing, to feed and edify the lost sheep of the nation of Israel through the Holy Spirit. Rakha HaKodash. And I just wanted to get into this lesson going into the book of Sirach, the 6th chapter and the 6th verse. And I want to read a couple verses with it. But this stemmed from, we had a class today, and this was one of the points that was we elaborated on briefly, and I just wanted to add a little bit extra to it, because as we were going into this, which I'm going to read it and then give the sense, and I pray that this is edifying. Going into how when we have counselors and we have friends, we have people that we have a unction that we want to trust them, that it says, pretty much it's a process, So, without further ado, we're going to get into it, let the scriptures talk, and I don't want to do too much more talking on my own. So this is Sirach 6 and verse 6. It says, be in peace with many, nevertheless have but one counselor of 1,000. And this is going into like the men of the Lord. You have different sects of Israel. You have Great Millstone, you have IUIC, you have ISUPK, okay, you have the Sakari, you have GOCC, you also have the off branch of the Sakari, which is Genesis. Okay, just to name a few. All right, but out of one of those individuals, you have to follow one. Because there's only one true doctrine. Okay, and me speaking as a man through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, Great Millstone is my counselor, right? And I'll get into why they're my counselor via through scripture. Let's read this next verse. Okay, it says, there's a friend, Salakia. It says, if thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first and be not hasty to credit him. All right, so the doctrine that has been given unto us, I'll speak for myself, that has been given unto me through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, be it through the Apostle Tahar and down, is proven. All right, and what does that word prove mean? Let's get this word prove in the etymology line. All right, so the word prove says from circa 1200, to try by experience or by a test or standard, to evaluate, demonstrate, and practice, right? So to evaluate and to also, to demonstrate and practice. So, and to evaluate something, that means you're looking into it. You're examining it. And this is, when I first came into this thing, the apostles and elders made a very great and wise statement saying that don't just believe us. You go look it up yourself. Not like they do over there at the IUIC, where everything that Bishop Nathaniel, or whatever he calls himself now, whatever he says is law. You don't have to look into it. This is, you better believe me. The apostles and elders over here at Great Millstone are not like that. All right? There's all the slander that all the BS they talk about our elders and apostles at Great Millstone. They're grapists, they're tyrants, they're this, they're that. These are actually great men, and I'm not just saying this because I'm part of Great Millstone, because their works are proven through the Lord. Their works are, and myself, I went and looked up a lot of the stuff that the apostles and elders talked about. When they go into certain parts of history and particular breakdowns, I start doing my own research on these particular things, and guess what? They come out to be true. Okay. So, you can talk, you can say all you want about an individual, but you have to, you have to make sure that what they're teaching is right, and I've came to terms that what Great Millstone teaching is right. And, certain of these other camps, they teach certain things that are right? They don't teach the 100% truth. When you're teaching Christ, when you're teaching about hell being an actual place, when you're teaching about the new doctrine that they're pushing out now, not IUIC specifically, but I forget the name of the cat. I was watching the video earlier, where they're speaking about not having more than one wife is illegal, scripturally, or is not lawful, or it's a sin. I forget how he worded it. But pretty much saying that it's off to not, for a man to have more than one woman. Well, it's in the scriptures that you can have more than one woman. Now, in this day and age, as the scriptures tell us this, let's get this. And this is in the book of Corinthians. I believe I can't remember if it's 1 Corinthians or 2 Corinthians. I might have spelled that wrong. Yeah, okay, so here we go. In the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10 and verse 23. It says, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. So to have more than one woman, there's nothing wrong with that, having one woman. Now in this day and age where prophecies at an all-time high, and we really got to give the best of our time to the Lord, it's best to either have one woman or no woman. But if you have more than one woman and you're able to, still genuinely take care of the work of Yahweh Shema Shai, then more power to you. But it's not illegal for a man, or it's not a sin or off for a man to have more than one woman. As long as the women that man is dealing with don't have a husband or another man that they're dealing with, then that man is not committing sin. But it says that all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. All things are lawful, but all edify not. Because really, honestly, this is not the time to be having more than one woman. All right? Especially, when you have younger brothers that are coming in, new individuals that are learning about the truth, and they'll think that that's the standard. Oh, well, I gotta have more than one woman. No, it's not that. It's just that's why the scriptures tell us a bishop of the Most High must be blameless, the husband of one wife. Why? Why does it say that? Because because he can't have more than one woman? No, it's not that. It's because he's setting forth an example that we're supposed to be about our Father's business. So as a head of a church, this is not an individual that's just frolicking around with a bunch of women. You don't, every time you see him, he got, 2 or 3 women walking around in his house, or every time you see him, he's taking a picture. It's like, if you got a woman, okay, cool. But, a bishop, a man that is a head of the church is not going to be indulging in women as heavily. The Apostle Tahar, from my personal, in my personal opinion, me speaking as a man, he's expressed it himself. He deals with a woman, but you see the amount of videos, of edifying videos that he puts up on a regular, showing you that he's showing forth a perfect example of, okay, I can have a woman, or however many women I want, but I'm putting forth the work of Yahweh Shema Shai, and I'm edifying the church. I'm constantly pushing prophecy. So this is a counselor that you want to have. This is the counselor that I want to have. I'll speak for myself. This is a counselor that I want to have. Okay. And it says, this is going to get back to Sirach 6 and verse 7. It says, if thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him. And being hasty to credit someone is giving them high fives before you even know what they're really about. And, that's another thing that was brought up in class concerning proving a friend, because it's not solely talking about just the men of the Lord. Even when you're walking around in this world, we have certain people in the world that we get cool with, seldom at work, but, every now and again, you might run into somebody who's real down to earth and real cool, and it's not, you didn't just become friends with them off of that, but, time to pass, you can develop a relationship with this person. They've proven themselves to be, a decent human being. You can talk to them about certain things that you can't talk to certain other individuals, and you become an acquaintance with that individual based off of the test of time. But, just to walk up to somebody and high five them, giving them hugs and, invite them into your house and all that shit. It's like, nah, man, you tripping because you don't even know what they're about, But let's continue on. In this same chapter, Sirach 6 and verse 7. It says, if thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first and be not hasty to credit him, right? For some man is a friend for his own occasion, and that's even amongst the brotherhood, because, a beautiful point that one of the older brothers, the brother Karat Azah, made mention is that, you do have individuals that, as far as the body of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, you have individuals that crept in unawares, in spy fashion. So these are individuals, referencing that this is the type of individual that come in, they call upon a name, they got the borders and the fringes on, they're hitting the highways and the hedges, but really they have a secret agenda. They're really not down for the cause of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, but they're down for their own belly. They're whatever they have in mind. And Jake are the best actors. Jake can act their ass off, man. Jake can pretend like a mug. I was just watching within the Equalizer movies, man, with Denzel Washington. And he showed he's one of the top actors in Israel, not in Israel, like the this thing of ours, but as an Israelite, he's one of the top actors, man. Can play goddamn any damn role he want to play, and bring that character to life. So Jake, your average everyday Jake, that may have that spy mentality or that sneaky mentality as a false man of the Lord. He had that same talent. He just ain't getting paid for it. Or maybe he is by Esau Edom. All right? But this is why we don't just let anybody in the script. And Sirach tells us that. It says not let any man into thy house. Right? Let's see if I can pull that up real quick. I remember just reading that recently in Sirach. Let's get that. Bear with me. Right, so here we go. I think this is it. The book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus. Yep, here we go. Sirach 11 verse 29. It says, bring not every man into thine house, for the deceitful man have many trains. Right, and the many trains, he has many different devices, many different let's see what the GNT says. See if that could bring a little bit more or give a different perspective of it, I should say. All right, because you don't know what this man is about. This is why we don't just trust everybody. We're not as this is why and especially in this wicked world, we're not just friendly to everybody, man. We're not assholes. We're not cussing everybody out and giving everybody the side eye, but we're just not trusting everybody, man. Okay, so yeah, this is then what the GNT says in Sirach chapter 11 verse 29. It says, it starts at the category, be careful in choosing friends. Be careful about the kind of person you invite into your home, because clever people can fool you in many ways. So they're very crafty. They're very deceitful. They have their own reasoning and own occasion as to why they want to, be around you. Whether they want to get something up out of you, or whether they just want to, whether that's, money or whatever, or maybe they want to, get a blueprint on you, see your daily moves, to set you up for your, for a downfall, to set you up to be caught up by Esau, Edom. And women are the worst. Definitely be careful with these women, man. Because these women, these These women are cold, man. You know, there's so many videos that they're on the internet where these men, they're trusting these women, dealing with these women, and these women are setting them up, getting them robbed, getting them shot up, damn near killed. You know, and this is why we, you know, as men, you know, the men of the Lord too, right? We still men. We can't be thinking with our dicks, man. And think, oh, she bad, man. Let me get with her. And then she start giving you some play. Now you think she mess with you for real, but really she's setting you up. You know, really she like, okay, well, I got him. He's simple. So you got to vet everybody, man. You know, this is why you don't just be linking up with anybody, man. Right? This is back in Sirach 6 and verse 8. It says, for some man is a friend for his own occasion. He got his own agenda. You know, he got his own reason why he your friend. Not because he genuinely likes you. You know, you might got something that he like. You know, you might got a nice car. You might got a nice looking woman and he want to be around that. You know, so you can't just be around individuals, man. You can't just invite anybody into the safety of your home and let them know all your personal business. You know, and me myself, I tend to be a little paranoid about these people, man. Not in the sense of walking around all frightened and scared and stuff, but you know, I don't let anybody in, man. You know, those that are outside of the body, I'm not just letting you in. You know, and when I say letting you in, I'm not letting you into my head, man. I'm not letting you into my personal life. You know, because they can use your information against you. We're living in high time of privacy. The CIA is already watching us. You don't want to just be talking to anybody, man. It says, reading on, it says, for some man is a friend for his own occasion and will not abide in the day of trouble. You might be going through something, and you know, in your prosperity, he's there. He's high-fiving you, giving you hugs. You know, he's passing you drinks. You know, this, that, and third. But as soon as something happens to you where, you're going through hardships, you know, you can't pay a bill, you know, and it's stressing you out, or, most high forbid any of us brothers, you know, you end up getting thrown into one of Esau's jail systems, you know, and this individual claims to be your friend, and then when them times come, they ain't there. This is why we have to prove everybody, man. Right? It says, and will not abide in the day of trouble. And then, because there's another one I was thinking about. Right, so this is the precept here in the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, or Sirach, chapter 12. And verse 8, it says, a friend cannot be known in prosperity, and an enemy cannot be hidden in adversity. Right? So, you know, when you're doing good, you don't know who's really your friend, you know. So, you know, going back to the point of proving, this is why we have to prove everyone that we come across. You know, especially someone who claims that or shows interest in being around you, you got to prove them. Right? Because when you're doing good, that's really when you need to be proving people. You know, this is why you have these dumbass celebrities and things like that have all these worldly riches and, you know, cars and jewelry and all that. They just start hanging around a bunch of individuals, and what happened? They'll betray them. You know, they'll sell them out. You know, maybe even weight in blood for them. You know, because you didn't prove that person first to see what their motive was, right? And an enemy cannot be hidden in adversity. So when you're going through it, you're going to see who's really going to be around. You know, when shit start hitting the fan, you're going to see who's really standing 10 toes down for you, right? And this is the point that I wanted to get right here. In the prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved, but in his adversity, even a friend will depart. So that's, you know, any individual, you know, that calls himself a friend, you know, they're not going to be sticking around when you're going through it. You know, when the world turns their back on you, they're going to turn their back on you too, because they're not your friend. You know, so going back to that, proving a man, okay? It says to, if thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first. You know, stop trying to be so quick to have friends. Oh, you've been lonely your whole life. Now you need somebody to talk to. So you don't, you lowered your standards and you just, talk to anybody. That is dangerous ground you're walking on, man. Okay. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the lesson, man. This is a very simple topic, but very important too, man. Especially in these the high times of prophecy that we're living in as men of the Lord. You know, we really got to be circumspect. We got to stand on our watch. You know, and we have to make sure that we know what's going on around us, who's around us, and what they're doing. You know, and make sure we're moving with wisdom and with prudence. You know, speaking to myself first and foremost. You know, because we're all in this flesh. We all human. We all make dumbass decisions and mistakes. So we have to make sure that we make less mistakes, do less stupid things, and be around. Let's get this. I'll close it out on this. Guess I can't spell today. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 37 and verse 12. It says, be continually with the godly man, whom thou knowest. You see, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord. Not who you think. I mean, he seems pretty cool. Nah, you know this man is verified. All right, you know how you have Instagram. You know, if you go on Instagram and you want to you have your page verified as an official page. You have to go through certain steps, and then you'll get that blue check next to your name on your page. You're verified. This is how we ought to be with the men that we're around. Verify them. You know, the scriptures tell us to do that. It says to try each other out, man. It says, but whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. And that's the individual you want around you. Whenever you're going through it, they ain't gonna leave you hanging. They're gonna be there. They're gonna show up, and they're gonna show out. You know how they say in the world, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna show out. Well, the men of the Lord, especially, we ought to show up for one another, and show out for one another. Meaning that the show out part is, I got your back. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make sure that I'm representing you, and I'm showing you that I'm here for you. And nobody can't say nothing to you or about you. Without me, having something to say. In sincerity and the truth, not on in a contentious level. But this is going to be the lesson. I'm going to end it here. And I pray that this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachai HaKodash. Double honor to my elders and apostles at Great Millstone. Peace, love, and safety is to the elect. Shalom.